Okay, so get this. Have you ever heard about the 6888?
The 6888.
Yeah, the 6888. See, this is why we do these deep dives.
Oh, I'm excited already.
We're going to uncover some World War II history today, and it's a story that might have completely flown under your radar, just like it did mine.
Under the radar is right up my alley. You know I love digging into the lesser-known stuff.
So we're going off of this review of the Netflix film. It's called The 6888,
Okay.
and it's directed by, you ready for this? Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry doing World War II. Interesting.
Right. I know, a little unexpected, but hold on, because what really makes this whole thing fascinating is it's not just some made-up Hollywood story.
Okay.
It's based on a real-life battalion.
Really?
The 888th Central Postal Directory Battalion. It was the very first all-black, all-female battalion in the entire U.S. military.
Wow. First and all-female and black during World War II.
Okay, this is already fascinating. What did they do? Well, this mission was absolutely not your typical wartime assignment. So picture this. You've got World War II raging on, and the war effort, it's created this, logistical nightmare. There's this mountain of undelivered mail, a backlog spanning 3 years.
3 years of backed-up mail? What?
Yes, we're talking about over 17 million pieces of mail. That's enough to fill a football stadium a bunch of times. More than once, a bunch.
17 million pieces of mail just sitting there. That's got to be a huge hit to morale, right? I can only imagine what those soldiers overseas must have been feeling, waiting for news from home.
Oh, absolutely. It was a massive blow to morale, and that's where the 6888 come in. 855 black women, imagine that, given the monumental task of sorting through this unbelievable amount of mail.
Okay, 17 million pieces of mail, 855 women. How long did they have to sort all that out?
90 days.
90 days. That's like processing the entire daily volume of the U.S. Postal Service every 3 days for 3 months straight.
It's mind-boggling, right? They were under immense pressure.
Yeah, I bet. So where were they stationed?
Their first deployment was in Birmingham, England.
Birmingham, England. Okay.
But here's the kicker. They were working in these freezing cold, dimly lit warehouses.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And to make matters even worse, they were infested with rats. Not exactly a five-star welcome.
Wow. Talk about a tough environment to work in, especially with the pressure of sorting millions of pieces of mail.
Definitely not a walk in the park.
Yeah.
And speaking of challenges, this film features, it stars Kerry Washington.
Oh, I love her.
She plays Major Charity Adams, who is the battalion's commanding officer.
Wow. Kerry Washington playing a commanding officer during World War II? I'm going to have to see this. What do we know about the real Major Adams?
Oh, she was a total trailblazer. I mean, she was the first black woman to ever achieve such a high rank in the U.S. military, period.
Wow, what a pioneer.
Exactly. And on top of all that, she constantly had to fight for her battalion's recognition and respect, which, sadly isn't surprising given the times. The film actually shows how she handled this, very blatant discrimination from some of the white officers.
Yeah.
There's this one character, General Halt, played by Dean Norris, who really gives her a hard time.
Yeah, it's easy to forget sometimes just how deeply ingrained racial prejudice was back then, even in a situation where everyone's supposed to be on the same side, fighting for the same cause. I mean, can you imagine serving your country but facing discrimination from within its own ranks?
Right. Talk about a double burden, and especially during wartime. The review I was reading, actually, they emphasized how crucial it is to acknowledge, really acknowledge, the pain that these women had to endure because of the racial prejudice that was so prevalent back then. And the reviewers seemed to think that the film actually did a good job of capturing this aspect of their experience. What do you think?
I'd agree with that. I think it's important to remember that this was World War II, Segregation and prejudice were deeply ingrained in American society. These women were not only serving their country in a vital role, but they were also fighting for equality within their own ranks. That's a powerful story, and I think the film manages to capture that complexity pretty well.
It really makes you think. So there's this other part of the story that the review highlights, and it's about one of the women in the battalion, Lena Derricott.
Okay.
She's played by Ebony Obsidian.
Oh, yeah, I know her work.
And she has this, budding romance with a white Jewish soldier named Abram David.
Okay, now that's interesting. A white Jewish soldier and a black woman in 1940s America during a war. That's got to be complicated.
Exactly. Abram's played by Greg Sulkin.
Okay.
I was thinking about this, and I think it adds this whole other layer of complexity to the story, you know what I mean? Think about it. An interracial romance during the 1940s, that was incredibly rare, almost unheard of.
More than rare. It was basically taboo back then, illegal in many states.
Wow. Right. I didn't even think about that.
And socially, those relationships were just not accepted in most circles.
So the film uses this personal story, the romance between Lena and Abram, to illustrate those societal norms of the time.
It's a really clever way to do it, I think. You get a glimpse into these broader social dynamics through a personal lens. It makes it feel more real, more immediate, don't you think?
Absolutely. And it kind of makes you think about the challenges these interracial couples faced, even beyond the war, right?
Exactly. I mean, you're dealing with societal pressures, legal barriers, family disapproval. It's a whole other battle they're fighting.
And that's just barely scratching the surface of what they went through. The reviewer also mentioned that they wished the film had explored Abram's background more because his fate is actually left unknown.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I can see how delving more into Abram's story, especially as a Jewish soldier during World War II, could have added another layer to the film. You could see the war from his perspective and the specific challenges he faced.
All right, could have really rounded out that part of the story. But then I was thinking, maybe there's a reason they chose not to focus on him too much.
You mean like a deliberate choice by the filmmakers?
Yeah, because it makes me think about how history often tends to sideline or even completely erase the experiences of certain groups, like Black women and other minorities. Their stories often get overshadowed or simply forgotten, even when they're integral to the narrative.
Yeah, it's almost like their contributions, no matter how significant, get lost in the noise of the bigger picture.
It's true. It's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. The 6888, despite all the obstacles they faced, they accomplished something truly remarkable.
It's incredible when you think about it. They processed mail faster than anyone thought possible. They adopted this motto, no mail, low morale.
No mail, low morale. I love that.
And Major Adams implemented this really innovative system of round-the-clock shifts. They were working day and night to clear that backlog.
Wow, they were really dedicated. It makes you think, though, like what happened to these women after the war? Did they get the recognition they deserved?
That's the question, isn't it? And unfortunately, history doesn't always give us those satisfying answers. It's in asking those questions, though, that we start to uncover the missing pieces and form a more complete and inclusive view of the past.
That's a really good point. So just to recap, we've got this incredible story of 855 women, the 6888. They faced this ridiculous mountain of mail. They battled prejudice every step of the way, and they ended up smashing their mission against all odds.
It's such a testament to their resilience and just their sheer determination.
It really is inspiring. And it makes you wonder, what other untold stories are still out there? What other hidden figures are just waiting for their moment in the spotlight? It's something to think about for sure.
Absolutely. There are countless stories from our past just waiting to be discovered, and every one of them has the potential to change how we see the world today.
And that's exactly why we do these deep dives. Who knew that Tyler Perry would be the one to introduce us to the amazing 6888?
Thanks for joining me for this incredible journey into history.
It was my pleasure. Always happy to delve into these forgotten corners of the past.
And to our listeners, keep those questions coming, keep exploring, and most importantly, never stop learning.
Never stop learning. I second that.
We'll see you on our next deep dive.
Until next time.